Hi everybody, and welcome to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. In this video, we've got a post from Relationship Advice with an update and one from Malicious Compliance. So if you want to go ahead and get started with the stories, just use the timestamps below the video. I'd also like to give a big shout out to all my supporters and the new members that have been coming in. It makes a huge difference and it really means a lot to me, so thank you very much. Now let's get started with the stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice and it's by user throwarray09091212. Fiance, 30 male, found out about my 28 female college days. Hasn't talked to me in 3 days. I don't know if this is the end. I've been with my fiance for 2 years, engaged for 2 months. I can go on and on about how great he is, but I won't waste your time. He's awesome. He and my sister's boyfriend have gotten really close over the past year, and they talk at least twice a week, whether on the phone or FaceTime, or just hanging out with all 4 of us. My sister has been with her boyfriend since high school, so obviously her boyfriend knows me very well as my dating history. Last weekend, because of the quarantine, we all thought it would be fun to drink and hang out over FaceTime. It was a FaceTime double date, and we all had a blast. Laughing, playing drinking games, we all partied for over an hour, and that's when I was over it and decided to leave the party to call my sister directly without the boys in another room. Well, my fiance and her boyfriend stayed on FaceTime and continued to get drunk together. During this time, I couldn't hear crap because I was in another room and was talking to my sister. My sister's boyfriend goes and tells a bunch of stories about my college days and how many guys I hooked up with. Just so everyone knows, I don't know the actual number. My first 3 years of college were literally one giant party. Without being too descriptive, I admit I was excessive. But at the time, it was just what we did. I was single during that time and me and my friends did a lot, with a lot of guys. Most of them I couldn't even pick out of a lineup. But again, I was in college. Anyways, at one of the parties I went to, I ended up hooking up with 4 different guys at the same time. This is relevant later. My fiance is handsome as F, and I know for a fact he's been with several women. We talked about our past a lot at the beginning of our relationship. I wasn't 100% honest with mine, and I can only assume that he was. After everyone hung up, me and my fiance were lying in bed and about to sleep when he just calmly asked me, "Did you get gangbanged in college?" My response was, "What the F? Why would you ask that?" That's when he told me everything that my sister's boyfriend told him. He told me details I'm not even sure are 100% true because, again, a blur. But a lot of the info was accurate, and so I just told him yes, it was one time. He continued asking questions about the other stuff, but the gangbang thing kept coming up and he had a lot of questions about it that I answered to the best of my knowledge. Fast forward to Wednesday. Things had been fine and normal Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. But on Wednesday, radio silence. He hasn't texted or talked to me in 3 days. The breaking point was tonight, when he came home from work and he asked me, "Are you friends with any of the guys on Facebook?" Again, not lying to him, I admitted that yes, I was friends with all of them. He left a few hours ago and I have no idea where he is or what he's doing. I'm tempted to call the cops, but I feel like that will just make it worse. I feel like garbage. I effing hate my sister's boyfriend right now, but maybe it's not even his fault. Maybe I should have been more honest. I'm so lost. He is the best thing to ever happen to me, and I've never seen him like this before. Is this the end? He refuses to return my calls or texts. OP, first of all, don't call the cops. Just give him some space. I think he's got a lot of thinking to do. Whatever you did in college, how and with who and how often, or it doesn't really matter. You were free to do so and there's no shame in that. But you do need to understand that not everybody's gonna like that. Some people would find that to be a deal breaker and some people don't. It is their prerogative to choose which one, just like it was yours to do whatever you wanted to do in college. Regarding your sister's boyfriend, he is an a-hole for telling something that it wasn't his to tell. That was something you should have told your boyfriend from the beginning, when you both were being open and honest about your past. Now, your fiancé not only found out that you lied by omission to him, but that for some reason you kept contact, even though through Facebook, with these 4 guys. I don't know if this is the end of your relationship or not, but I do think you should wait for him to come back and you guys can have a conversation regarding your relationship and the future. One thing though, the fact that you were in college doesn't add or subtract anything to what you did. What you did was your choice regardless of what moment in your life you were living or not. What do you guys think about this? What would you say to OP? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they had to say. Initials MMM101 says, your husband may be particularly concerned that you maintained connections, even if over Facebook, with these men during your relationship, especially given the lying. Your husband just found out that you not only lied to him, but kept connections with all the people you lied about. That's obviously going to be a shocker. This is why honesty is so key. Why do you have all these casual hookups as friends on Facebook anyway? Not trying to hate, genuinely curious. Your husband will likely need a pretty damn good explanation on that one as well. Non-vegan vegan yogurt says, the whole "it was college" really isn't going to help you here. No guy wants to hear how their girlfriend got railed by 4 guys and still has them in contact. You were at college, and you are free to do what you want in terms of sex. It is your choice. However, you then have to accept the thoughts people have of you. Your actions and past actions will rub them the wrong way. There is a difference between being handsome and being with several women, and being with so many you couldn't pick them out of a lineup. The fact you know he has been with several women shows he was honest about his past, yet you chose to hide yours. Before anyone starts the "it's not right to judge anyone and hold it against them," that may be true, but it happens and it happens for a reason, and it doesn't just apply to sex. If I was a giant a-hole to someone for years and years and suddenly started being nice to people, if those people found out about my past action towards people, then they will view me differently. Some may not wish to speak to me anymore. Actions do have consequences, no matter what. Pedantic Platitudes says, you say you weren't 100% honest. Cut the BS. You lied to him, and now you've been found out. And you're seriously going to call the cops and waste police resources because he walked out on you a few hours ago? Grow up. You sound like a nightmare. Well, the community is definitely calling out OP for lying to her boyfriend regarding what she did in college. And they're also calling her out for the way she's downplaying being in college and not being 100% honest, which I totally agree with that last one. Being honest is kind of binary. You're either honest or you're not, but it's not like you can be 50% honest and then the rest, you just won't say, because that's basically lying by omission. Or like when cheaters trickle truth the people they cheated on. In any case, OP has given us an update, so how about we move on with that and figure out what happened to their relationship. He eventually came back in the middle of the night and we talked until the morning. We both agreed that he needs to distance himself from the relationship while he figures stuff out. He admitted the only thing he cared about was the gangbang, and he told me he couldn't get the visual out of his head. He then told me about a threesome he had in college, which I think is totally made up, and he just wanted to get a rise out of me, but who knows. It just sounded so unbelievable, and it felt like he was trying to get back at me. We did make love before we went to sleep, but it was not good. And by not good, I mean he felt like he was just trying to punish me once again. Everything was weird, from the kissing to the ending. Being vague here because this part is probably what got my post deleted last time. He left in the morning to go stay with his parents, and I haven't seen him since. We still text every day, but it's different. Everything is different, and at this point I'm almost positive we aren't going to get married. And again, at this point, I'm okay with that. I know I effed up, and I know I lied, and all I can do is live and learn. As soon as this quarantine ends, I plan on using my work program that helps people find therapists. It's part of my benefits, and I've never used it before, and I'm legitimately excited to start working on myself for the future, whatever may happen between me and him. Now, to everyone who left me nice messages, I couldn't reply to you all, so I'm just saying thank you for your help and your advice. None of you know me and are all awesome, and I hope everyone nothing but the best. To the people who left me horrible messages, yes, I read every one of them. No, your names do not hurt me. I am not perfect and never claimed to be, and I know I have a lot of work to do. But I hope all of you happiness in your perfect relationships with your perfect selves, and good luck with everything. Also, just want to point out there was some confusion about who I was friends with on Facebook. It was just the 4 guys from the gangbang that I was friends with, not every guy I'd ever been with. And I've since deleted every single one of them. Again, my F up. Live and learn. And that's it from OP. There's nothing else in the comment section that would add to the story. All we can assume now is that this relationship is over and that OP will be working on herself with a therapist. And I guess at this point, we can just quote OP, live and learn. Now, we move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user AlmightyGG. Management fined me for being a considerate neighbor, so I made life difficult for them with my payments of the fine. I live in an apartment building where everybody gets one assigned parking space per apartment, as standard. You can pay for an extra one, but we don't need that. Due to a history of bad parking in the car park, they introduced a rule whereby you could be fined if you do not park in your allotted parking spot. Now, my parking space is at the end of a row. On one side, I have a wall about 1.5 meters away from the end of my parking space. On the other is the car belonging to the person who lives directly below me in the building. My under neighbors are a family with 3 young children. Knowing how difficult it can be to get all of their kids into their car seats, I have 2 of my own, I have generally given them a bit of space and parked a little outside of the line on the opposite side. Remember, next to me on the opposite side of my parking space is a wall. There is no reason for anyone to walk next to my car at that point. This is something I have been doing for months. I understand the need to enforce the rule where cars interfere with other parking spots or walkways, but for me, parking a little outside the spot affected nobody other than my neighbor who was given more space to get their kids into the car. I walked down to my car recently to see a note from the management office telling me I had been fined. I went to speak to them and sure enough, it was for parking outside of the space. I tried to explain to them that it was to help my neighbor and that nobody could be inconvenienced, but they told me rules were rules and that there was nothing to do about it. I had a fine of $60 and had 40 days to pay it. Being quite riled up, I went through the relevant contract and was dismayed to find that they were indeed correct. There was absolutely nothing I could do about it. I did, however, note that there was a statement in the contract saying that every single payment received by the management company had to receive a written receipt signed for by the management company within 2 working days. There was also no rules about me having to make payment of the fine in a single deposit. So this is where the malicious compliance comes in. By this point, there was 37 days remaining to pay the fine, so I divided 60 by 37 and set 37 recurrent payments of $1.63 daily for the time remaining with my bank, which was very little effort. After a few days had passed, I went to the management office asking for my receipts. They told me they would provide my receipt upon full payment, to which I respond that the contract was quite clear. They must provide a written receipt for each and every payment, not for each and every fine. and that they were already overdue my first receipt by a day. They tried arguing with me, but it was completely clear from the contract, so every couple of days they had to fill out receipts and then walk them over to my letterbox. I have continued to give my neighbors some extra space by parking slightly over the opposite line, but as of yet have not received another fine. Well done, OP. They enforced their rules, you can do exactly the same. And yes, they were technically in the right, but if you weren't really bugging anybody by parking a little bit over the line and actually helping your neighbor out, that's something they could have looked over and not be such sticklers for rules. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I certainly did reading them to you. So if you did, then go ahead and give the video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and become a member of our Discord community that just keeps growing, and it is fantastic. And like I said in the beginning of the video, all of the relevant links are in the video description below, so be sure to check them out. And finally, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys enjoy this content, so thank you once again. And having said all that, I will see you guys in the next video.